Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper, and today I'll be talking about my favorite Pokemon from every region in the Pokemon series. Now, with Pokemon as a whole, there have been a lot of interesting and cool, unique looking Pokemon, and this video is just me going through the different regions, so Kanto, Johto, Alola, Galar, and the others to basically just pick a Pokemon from each of those regions and basically talk about my thoughts on them and stuff like that. So yeah, and I won't be including starters. Uh, I did a video on that like months ago, which I'll probably put a link in the description for if you want to see that video. So yeah, that's the only kind of rule I'll be putting in this video. So yeah. So for Generation 1, so red and blue and yellow and green, is Vulpix. Now, what I like about Vulpix is that it's this tiny little adorable fox-looking Pokemon that can breathe fire, and it's a really cool and sort of like majestic-looking Pokemon. And then when it evolves into Ninetales, it becomes a bit more majestic, or a lot more majestic, in that form. And with Vulpix, it's basically a little adorable looking fox little Pokemon, and yeah, it's just a little fox that looks that's cool looking and looks a bit mysterious in some places or in some parts. Like you kind of don't want to know where it comes from or where it might be and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a really cool looking Pokemon. For Generation 2, so uh, Crystal, Heart of Gold, and Silver is Umbreon. Now, Umbreon is probably my favorite, not only my favorite Pokemon from Generation 2, but probably my favorite evolution as a whole, because I do like how the way you try and get an Umbreon. That being you have to have an Eevee max happiness, or even that has some happiness, but evolve it in nighttime, similar to not Sylveon, the psychic type evolution. I don't remember the name of at the moment. But when instead of having to evolve Eevee at night, you have to evolve it at it's Espeon. Yeah, there we go. It's Espeon. But instead of having to evolve Eevee at night, you evolve Eevee at morning to get Espeon. And what I like really about Umbreon is mainly its design, because it's basically this like because they all look like foxes, and Umbreon is kind of basically a dark type version of a fox. And I do like the sort of like lights and sort of like yellow parts on its body, and I think it's again a much more mysterious looking Pokemon, and it's like, what's Umbreon gonna do? Is it gonna do something and stuff like that? And I would just really love the design as well. I think it's really cool, and as well as having trying to evolve one. For Generation 3, that being Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, is Aggron. Well, now, what I like about Aggron is that it's basically, it looks like a sort of steel-looking lizard type of Pokemon, because it's got that sort of weird, draconic-looking face, which makes it really intimidating. And it's got that huge, sort of like, intimidating body that it has. It kind of feels weird seeing it just on its hind legs a bit, because with Aron and Larion, it's pre-evolutions. They're both on four legs, so it's a bit weird having to see Aggron on its hind legs. But I think it works for the Pokemon because of its design as a whole. And with Mega Aggron in the ORAS games and X and Y, it gains a lot more metal and looks a lot more draconic as well. And it having the rock and steel type, the steel type looks cool. It looks awesome on it with it. But with the rock type, maybe it's because it's like you can find it in caves, and you can find steel in caves, or maybe something, or mineral steel or something like that. Maybe that's why it's the rock type. But overall, Aggron is a really cool looking type. For Generation 4, that being Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, is Luxray. Now, Luxray was the very first Pokemon I ever caught, when I first started playing Pokemon. And what I really like about Luxray is its design as well as its ability. Not the ability that's the in-game ability, that being either Intimidate or I think Rivalry. I think that's its other ability. But its ability to see through walls, I think that's in its Pokédex entry. I think it's something along the lines of it can use a small electrical charge to make it see through walls. And that's a really cool ability because you don't really get that with other Pokemon. Whereas just, oh, there's a Pokemon that can take people away, and that being Drifblim and Drifloon. You've got another one that can like just get headaches, and yeah, those so that is really cool. And Luxray is one of those few Pokemon, and I think you don't really see that like with other Pokemon, and I wish something more like this could be brought in, like a Pokemon that can see a minute or a minute and a half into the future or something like that, and if it concentrates its iconic energy, or another Pokemon that can create fire art or something like that. And with Luxray, I do like how it becomes more lion-like as it evolves. So you've got Shinx, which kind of looks like this little cub little Pokemon. Then you've got Luxio, which is kind of going through a somewhat emo phase. Then with Luxray, it becomes the majestic lion-looking Pokemon, and I do like the whole black and blue that it's going on with, and it's a really fun-looking Pokemon. And I do really like using Luxray during my Platinum team or my Platinum playthroughs, and I do really hope Luxray gets a Mega Form, and hopefully it gets the Dark type, because it does look like an electric Dark type, but it's only got the electric type, so maybe, yeah. For Generation 5, that being Black and White and Black and White 2, is Crocodile. Now, Crocodile is probably one of my favourite Pokemon, and probably one of my personal strongest Pokemon in any of my teams, because Crocodile has the ability Moxie, and it just basically raises its attack after a Pokemon has fainted. And what I really like about Crocodile is that it's basically just this crocodile-looking Pokemon, and I do like its design because it's got like this very big mouth, and it's red and black, so that's really cool. And I just really think it's a really intimidating-looking Pokemon, but it could also be somewhat friendly if you trained it right. And I think it's just one of those Pokemon that's just really cool, and I think it's very fun to use during my Black and White and Black and White 2 playthroughs, because it's very useful for a lot of the gyms, I would say, and probably some of the Elite Four, because it's good against the Electric type gym, and when it comes to the Elite Four, it's good against the Ghost type and the Psychic type. So yeah, that's really cool, and again, it's probably my MVP in both Black and White and Black and White 2, because of the ability Moxie. And again, like with Luxray, where you start off with Shinx being this little cat-looking Pokemon, and then it becoming a majestic-looking lion. With Crocodile, you start off with Sandile, then Crocorock, and then Crocodile, where it starts off with this little cute little crocodile-looking Pokemon. Then it becomes a more intimidating one, and then it becomes an ultimate intimidating-looking Crocodile. And I do kind of hope it gets a Mega Form, like with Luxray, but part of me kind of hopes it doesn't, because it's like I feel like it's already perfect, and why would you want to try and ruin perfection in that sort of sense? So yeah. For Generation 6, that being X and Y, and for the upcoming ZA, which is the Legends game coming out next year, is Meowstic. Now, Meowstic is one of the few Pokemon to have different gender forms, in the sense that depending on which gender you catch, whether that being a male or female one, will have very different designs. They both look similar. I think the male one is like a blue and white looking one, and the female one is a white and blue looking one. But I do prefer the female looking one, because it looks a bit cooler, and the male one is fine, I guess. I just think that the female one looks a bit more majestic in a sort of sense, and I think it fits the Pokemon a whole lot more. The female version, that is. And I like its design, Meowstic, because it's got for its ears, it's got like it can extend like its ear things, and they've got eyes underneath those ear looking things. It's kind of hard to explain or talk about what those things are. Are they horns? Are they ears? I don't think it's ever really explained. I'm not 100% sure. And it's such a really cool looking Pokemon because like it's basically just a cat looking Pokemon with psychonic energy and psychonic powers, and and it's really fun to use in battle and stuff like that. And from what I remember, because I looked up on the moveset for both male and female like ages ago. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that depending on which version you pick, whether the male one or the female one, they both have different movesets, I think. I'm not 100% sure, or I'm not 100% remember. It could be the case, but I think that's a really interesting thing of, there's a Pokemon that has two different sets of moves and stuff like that. So that's really something cool. And I do hope that there's more Pokemon like this, like, there's one form that's sort of like defends and sort of sets up, another one that sort of attacks more. So yeah. For Generation 7, that being Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, is Alolan Ninetales. Now, what I really like about Alolan Ninetales is that it's probably, out of all the regional formed Pokemon that we've had since Generation 7, the Alolan Ninetales probably looks the most majestic looking one, because it's basically a ice fox. It's kind of similar to a regular Ninetales, where that one's a fire fox. With Alolan Ninetales, it's similar, but it's got a nice and fairy type, and it looks really, really, really majestic, and it's really cool. And I do like using it when I have it in my team for when I'm playing Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it's really it just looks so cool, and I think it's just a really nice looking Pokemon. And I do like the tails on the back of its body, because with regular Ninetales, it just has the tails just like sort of curled up a bit, but with Alolan Ninetales, it's sort of the tails are sort of floating in the wind almost, and I think that would help to make it more majestic looking, and helps it to differentiate itself, or make it more different to its Kanto form. So yeah. For Generation 8, that being Sword and Shield, is Wooloo. Now, what I like about Wooloo is that it's basically a sheep Pokemon. It's basically a little sheep, and sheep are probably my favourite animals ever. So I think that's why I really love Wooloo. And I just like how it's just this little ball of fluff with legs. And I do like Double. I think Double, when you compare them, when it comes to stats, Double is a bit more beefier and a lot more bulkier than Wooloo, because stat-wise, Wooloo isn't the best. But I just really love Wooloo because it looks really cool, and I do like the animation that it has for it whenever it does an attack. It just rolls, and especially in the start of Sword and Shield, where you can see it just tackling a fence. It just rolls, and it just rolls everywhere, and that's really cool. And yeah, I think it's just a really adorable looking Pokemon. As I said before, it's basically fluff with legs, so that's really cool. And for Generation 9, that being Scarlet and Violet, is Kingambit. Now, Kingambit is an additional evolution to a previous Pokemon, that being the Bishop line, so Pawniard and Bishop. And with Kingambit, I think it's a really really nice fit for Bishop, because they are all named, and I think as well as designed wise, from chess pieces. So Pawniard is named after a pawn, Bishop is named after a bishop, and Kingambit is named after the king. And they all look really cool. And with Kingambit, I do like its ability. From what I remember, if it's got a status element, or one of its attacks is lowered, I think its attack is raised, or its defense, or both of its attack and defense are raised. And I do like its design. Like, it's got this giant sword on the top of its head, and it's got like these two blades that form a mustache, and it's got like a sort of like cape thing that it sits on, as well as like a massive shield looking thing on its back, and I think it's got sort of like a shield looking design. I don't think it actually has a shield. I think it's just something that resembles a shield, and yeah, I think it's as an infantry line. I think it fits the bishop line really well, and it kind of looks like a mega form. Like half of it does, I would say. Like half of it does, half of it doesn't. Because if Scarlet and Violet didn't, well, if Scarlet and Violet came out and it wasn't in the game, then it would have been like it could have had the potential to be a mega form in ZA when that was announced. But overall, King Ambit is a really cool looking Pokemon, and I do really enjoy using it in my team. That's been me talking about my favorite Pokemon from every region. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And see you in the next video.